I'm Dave Weiss from Wipeout Enterprises. Welcome back. We're going to continue with our education program and look at the front end of the motor now and supporting our mission statement of providing a reliable engine package with the standard of excellence customer service. And we're trying to provide our 40 years of experience, almost 40 years of experience in building pulling tractors. So we're going to move to the front end of the motor. And one of the things that we need to look at and address is the possibility of the crank gear slipping on the nose of the crank. It's an interference fit from International, and there's a roll pin in there, and that's for alignment. That's all is holding that gear on. So on a inline pump motor, we highly recommend that the crank gear either is pinned the Hypermax way. You got to pull the crank gear, the oil pump gear, and the crank gear off, and pin the crank gear. Or the way a lot of them do it now is you pull the oil pump gear off, and then we TIG weld or MIG weld the crank gear to the nose of the crank, and you got to chamfer the back of the oil pump gear and install that. So on the first part of this, we're going to look at our tools that we use and some of the processes that we do, and we'll take you all through it. And our process, our actual instructions on welding the crank gear, we'll have that on our website. So first thing we got to do is get the nose of the crank cleaned up, because we're going to be pulling these gears past the nose. So a little emery cloth, and we polish up the nose of the crank, file, take down any of the burrs, and then we actually use the grinder, and we'll show this in our next video, is we cut notches into the gear. So this gear is a virgin gear, nothing's done to it, just been out in the truck running. And we'll cut grooves into the gear for our bearing splitter. So you can see here our crank is prepped now. We got a groove that we cut into the oil pump gear on both sides. And the reason we do this, we put this groove in here, we use a bearing splitter, and then the bearing splitter can get a hold of the oil pump gear. And then we just got a puller set up, and this is how we pull the gear. We'll heat the gear up, and once the gear heats up, expands, we pull the gear off. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull the gear now. We get to play a fire now. My lovely assistant Bean will be helping us. We're going to heat the gear up, not up on the nose. We're going to keep the heat down, low down here. And then he'll put the impact on the puller, we'll pull the oil pump gear off. Want it heated. And I don't know if you heard that in the video, it's popped already. And that's all there is to it. We couldn't have planned this any better, because they usually don't go that easy. We got everything set up now to TIG weld the gear on. So what we'll do is about 3/4 of an inch long, and we'll do it in 4 spots, and we'll TIG weld the gear. So I'll go ahead and get started here. So we completed the TIG welding of the gear, and you can see the TIG welding. We've cleaned it all up, got it ready to put the oil pump gear, drive gear back on. And you can see the chamfer. Put a chamfer in there to clear the weld fillet. And these instructions are all in WOEI 0041, which will be loaded on our website under instructions. So you can go to and pull these instructions up, and kind of what we talked about in the video, actually written instructions for this. And now we're going to install the oil pump here. So we'll just heat it up. We got a heat sink there that we use. We'll heat up the oil pump here, and then we'll just hot drop it right on there. You could also use an oil bath, which would work very well also, giving even heat.